Hey YouTube, what's happening? Chris here. I want to bring you all an update on Digibyte. I know a few of you have been asking about it, so I'm going to do my best here for you today. Guys, right now we are down 6.62%. We're at 0.0105. And what we're looking at is the power of trendline breaks. So this is what we've really been keying in on for probably about a month or so now. If you go back, look at some of the videos we've been doing, talking about this has been the main trend line. So now what we're looking for, guys, is to see after this fall, we're going to see if we do have some type of a pullback to back test these moving averages back in here or even this trend line. A lot of the times, my book, Encyclopedia Chart Patterns by Thomas Bukowski, it talks about these trend line breaks, and about 50 to 60% of the time you will have some type of a pullback into this area here or a retest of this trend line, and then sometimes, guys, you can actually fall back down even farther. That's one scenario. Another scenario is we can just keep dropping down and maybe even come down here and test this area again. That could happen since we have lost these moving averages, or we could have this fall here, guys, and then we come back up here and try to get back within this trend line. So those are the three options that we're going to be looking at here. So guys, if you like what we do here, if you enjoy these Digibyte videos, if you want me to keep doing Digibyte, give me those thumbs up, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We're trying for 100 likes on this video. I appreciate all of you. So we'll dig into this, guys. All right, so what we're looking at here is just really paying attention to this trend line. That's the main thing, guys, is the trend line and these overhead moving averages. Because what happened was throughout this move up here, we started to have this 30 EMA acting as support. We had the 50 acting as support. We tried to wick through a couple times right up in here this 200-day moving average. And remember how crucial that 200-day is. That's the longer term moving average for long-term investors who really want to get in. They're not going to want to see a bunch of rejection off this. They're going to want us to get back up on top of this 200-day moving average and start having closes up above that, and we're not there yet, guys. We tried to get up there and then we saw that rejection. We're getting pushed to the downside right now. So we're really going to have to keep our eye out on these moving averages to see if we can get back up above them, because right now they're starting to act as that river pointing us down. And what you're looking at here, this was like your minor trend. We were in one of these short-term uptrends, and now you're having a short-term downtrend right now, or a reaction or a correction, excuse me. And what we're going to look at here is the Fibonacci and see if we can look for any type of bounces. So off this move, we're just going to go rough estimate here, guys. I'm not going to zoom in super tight to see exactly where the points are, but we'll get a rough view here. So we have broken down through the 0.618, and what we're going to do is see if we can get a bounce off this 0.786, and sometimes you will get a bounce off that 0.786 back up to around this 50, which would coincide with these moving averages, and then sometimes, guys, you can fall down even farther. So you just want to keep your eye on these levels here and see what's going on. And with the RSI, another thing you want to notice, and you can put this in your back pocket for the next time that we start one of these nice uptrends here. So guys, we pushed up. You can see our RSI was around 83 and our price was 0.0117. And then what happened was our price moved up even higher, but our RSI started to go down. It was around 74 to 78, right in that range, with the price moving up. And then the price tried up one more time, and then we had an even lower RSI. And what that was showing was that we were losing strength. We would have drawn a trend line on this here, just like that. And now what we're going to see is, what's going to happen with this trend line here. We didn't even come back up to test it again. We were losing so much strength. So we're going to have to see what we do here in the days to come. And if we're going to get a bounce down around this area on about 29 or 30 on the RSI, this would be the spot I'd look for a bounce. Then I'd look at this area here around that 26, and ultimately down around that 12 or 13, because we can get that low, guys. I want you to be aware of that. And, anything that's moving up like this, and you see this beautiful move like that, can happen on the backside just as well, and especially because we did lose this trend line here. That's a big deal. Really study and learn about trend line breaks. They're very powerful. And just from this area here, what we're going to do is take our price range tool, and we're going to see how much percentage we lost from this move, from the trend line break. So if you would have sold once we broke the trend line, look at that percentage, guys. 22 to 24%. That's how big a deal it is identifying these trend lines. That's why I was talking about it for quite a while, is that if we don't get a bounce off this, it looked like we were getting a little bit of a bounce. We were going to try to test this 200 days, see if we can get over it, but we ended up just rolling over. And that's what happened. Now the moving averages are trapping us a little bit. So this is an area you just want to be careful. Long-term wise, if you're a Digibyte fan, long-term investing, we're definitely a lot closer to the bottom than we are to the top. So it's always a good spot. If you want a dollar cost average in, I'm not your financial advisor. I just want to show you this simple fact right here. guys, take a look at this. So say you're getting it just for a long-term hold. I mentioned this last video. Look where we're at in the overall chart. So do you see these cycles and these waves? So first this wave came in here, and then we had this nice beautiful shakeout retracement into this rounded bottom. Then we had another huge move here. And guys, this move here basically looks the same as this over here. It just looks a little larger. So here's our first big massive spike. Here's our spike. And then we had this big fall. Then we had a second hump, big fall, second hump. Then right here we came back up. We actually made it over the top of this one, which this one slightly did here. And then this came back down. We came back down here. We had another leg down, and then we started to round out. And that's kind of where we're at right now. We're looking at that rounding spot down here where supply and demand really starts to shift. So, you know, in the weeks and months to come, this could be that rounded part before we start to make that next move up higher to see if we can get up above this old past high. And what's happening here, guys, these are market cycles, and then this was a market cycle. Now we're shaking out of this one and they're getting larger, and then we'll have another market cycle at some time as well. And you know, if you're getting Digibyte for a long-term hold because you believe in the project, not from where it's at right now, but think, guys, if we go again to the all-time high, 1,277% if you're picking up now, and we do even just go to this all-time high right here and we don't even go past it. So, you know, that's something that I'm really keeping my eye on as well in terms of just accumulation in Digibyte. Is it the right time? Should we wait a little longer? Those are things that I'm mapping out myself right now. Next, we'll look at the MACD, see what's happening. All right. So guys, on the MACD, just give me a second here, and then we'll zoom in on it a little bit. Alright, so the MACD, guys, were just definitely negative here. You can see we had this bearish cross here. We tried to push back up again. We ended up falling, and we just opened up here. So we're still to the negative here. We definitely could have a little more room to fall. So that's what I'm saying. If you're looking for maybe even a better price, you can say, all right, I'm going to put some buy orders down around this area right here, guys, and see if that's a spot, because we had this massive fall here. Then we came up and we made our first higher low, and then we started this move there. So we're just going to have to see where this ends. You know, even right here, guys, we could stop. We could put in a nice candle here tomorrow maybe, and then start coming back up and see if we can get back up in this trend line. Anything's possible in this game. You know, it all depends on what Bitcoin's doing. We're tied to Bitcoin, and you just need to keep your eye on Bitcoin. You know, it affects everything as much as we don't want it to or whatnot. Digibyte can be one of the best projects out there, which I do think it's a very strong project, but it can be one of the strongest ones out there. And if Bitcoin's going to tank, then we're going to tank along with it for the most part. That's just typically what happens. So be aware of that. But you know, guys, this has been a long downtrend, and we're getting close to finally getting back up above this 200-day moving average. We haven't been up above it since the 6th of August. We dropped down through this, guys, of 2018. You know, this has been a long time that we've just been getting ridden to the downside. Then we started to see this supply and demand shift here, and we set that higher low. So now let's see what we can do. But you see, when these moves come in, they come in very hard and they come in very aggressive. It's very fast. And right here is a nice little bull flag. So you see that pull. And then here's our flag there, and then we broke out to the top, and it was kind of actually a fail there of probably what would be considered a 5% failure, because we didn't really make it up there. Typically you'd want the length of this pole for that upside move, and that just really didn't get there. So, you know, volume right now is falling off, but this would be the area that I'd be looking at for Digibyte to get a bounce. If we're going to get a bounce, these are the spots. I would look right here, guys. Then I would look right there, and then maybe even down to that wick, but I don't like going off wicks too much. So these would be the spots that I would be looking at to see if we get a bounce, if we're going to get one out of here. So, you know, guys, it's not a loss of hope or anything on the project. This is just chart. This is price action. This is what's happening. We're digging ourselves out of a massive bear market. I mean, look at these losses, guys. Look how fast this happens, and this is why you need to learn how to trade so you can take your profits. You know, on November 27th, 2017, all the way to about January 1st or so. I mean, that's a massive move in that short amount of time. So this is just taking off like a rocket, and same to the downside. Look at these falls. They're massive falls, guys. So that's why we need to be able to trade this. So when we're holding coins and we get way up in here, you can say, hey, I don't care if it goes any higher. I'm letting these go so I can buy them back cheaper, because another one of these is going to happen. So, you know, that's what you got to look at. And then we kind of had this double top here, this M. We came up here, failed, came back up again. and that's when we just broke down there. So, you know, these are things I want to bring to you guys. Very positive on the project overall, but right now the chart's just not looking it. But do you see how these things identify? Here's that first move. So right here, guys, and then there was that blow off. Here was our blow off. We fell to the backside. It looks almost identical. Look at that. There's that M, and then that roundedness, and then we had that takeoff again. So that's why you want your bags packed down here towards the bottom, because when this move happens, and you want to see very small bodied candles in here. So this was perfect for a nice little rounded bottom. Then we made that move. You can see here we're somewhat close to that. I mean, it's not necessarily a rounded bottom, but here was our low. We were just making lower lows and lower highs, and then we had that transition to higher lows and higher highs, and now we're going to have to see where we land here. So guys, overall I'm very optimistic on Digibyte itself, but the chart right now, there still could be a little bit more room to the downside. So that's what I want to bring you guys. If you like what we do here, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'll try to get some Digibyte videos out. As long as you guys like them and support them, I'll try to do the best I can to get, you know, 1 or 2 out each week for you. So take care, my friends.